My name is Mike Roth. I'm the city administrator here in Grand Marais. I know quite a few of you. I'm glad to see you all here. This is going to be a good project, and we're going to need your help with it. So what are we doing here? Well, we've got a title on it. It's the Highway 61 Design Project, Redesign Project. Why do we need to do that? Highway 61 is perhaps the second most critical piece of property in Cook County after Lake Superior. It's so important to all of Cook County just as an access point, as really an artery, and in this community in particular, it creates a lot of different spaces. It is a lot of the value of our infrastructure. It provides access to the town. It defines some of our neighborhoods. It's just a critical piece of the community. I can say that after tonight's meeting, we intend to continue this process and try and reach out to those groups that didn't get an opportunity to be here and that maybe don't participate in this type of effort very often. We're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out just what are the issues here. Tonight, we have our design team who's going to lead us through the next 2 hours in an interactive process. We need your help. We don't know what the issues are. We don't know what the answers are until we've had a chance to hear from the community about this. So thank you for coming, thank you for sharing, and now I'm going to turn it over to Mike Fisher, and he's going to introduce the design team.
You know, the reason we're here tonight is, we like to think we're pretty good at design. We've done a lot of these types of projects in many different communities, but we will never be the experts that you are in this community, at this place. So we really need information from you. We need a lot of information, and we're going to be asking you a lot of questions tonight in various formats. So those comment cards have some specific questions on them. One of them relates to the health impact study, so we're trying to weave all of this together to the best of our ability. And this is really the beginning from the design perspective to gather information. So the design is one element here. Happens to be our expertise, so this is where we can contribute. So I'm going to introduce the team here real quick. So it's actually two firms here. It's LHB, and I'm the Senior Vice President at LHB, and it's Ani Fernandez Landscape Architects. CJ, you want to introduce yourself? CJ is going to be managing this project for our team.
Yep, I'm CJ Fernandez with AFLA, and I'm a landscape architect. And we started working on this, a while back, talking about the ideas and a possible corridor design for 61. So we finally gotten to the point where we're ready to take off and do it.
And hi, I'm Jason Ani, landscape architect with AFLA. Thanks a lot for inviting us up here. My role in the project will probably be more from a design perspective once it gets into design and vetting out options and drawings and things like that. But I'd just like to say how great this is to see a turnout. Usually we don't see, Mike and I have worked together for a long time on these corridor projects along with CJ. But a lot of times you don't have the amount of people show up until the end. So it's nice to have you guys here to give your input in the beginning. Thanks.
So I'll get into a little bit of what the project is about. First, I just want to talk about the corridor. And on your tables, the big placemat is essentially our project focus and the corridor focus. It's from 8th at the campgrounds over to the intersection of the Gunflint. And that boundary is a little nebulous. We don't ever define these things in stone. But one thing I wanted to show is, and we'll kind of come back to it, is just starting out at the west end of town near the cemetery and your transition as you move into Grand Marais. And even though we're defining this corridor right now, as I just described, this is really about a much larger linear system. And as much as it's about this larger linear system as you travel through it, all the other things we're going to talk about is about connectedness within the community as well, where resources are, what people walk to. The boundary of this corridor is not simply curb to curb. And in fact, when you're dealing with design where you do have physical boundaries, we like to think of it as more of kind of building face to building face. The last series of slides I'll show here is a series of character slides. And so this starts to give you a very different feel of what the character of this place is from the ground. from a pedestrian standpoint. You know, we have bikers. Yeah, you know, there is obviously a lot of commerce, shipping, a lot of different. It's certainly a multimodal community. Different elements. A street shot. There is the corridor itself. You know, it's an interesting shot for pedestrian access here along 61. There's really just one access that follows 61. There isn't that holiday around the other two corners. It's just one piece. Some of the great things that are going on. How people cross the road. And winter, of course, brings on a lot of interesting conditions and considerations as you look at a road. All kinds of people use this place. Each user group essentially has different needs. That is essentially a part of what we're doing and looking at is how we design for all of the different types of uses. Great community resources right on the corridor and public spaces. People's interest to take care of the corridor and invest their own time into it. You know, Grand Marais is a complete community, and you know, to do a correct design, we need to be thinking about a complete street for it as well. So. There is that smaller map on your tables as well. So we're not saying that the corridor is necessarily defined definitively. If you have things on there at a larger scale, mark them on that map as well. The process is write on one of those small Post-its what that is, so put a label on it, and then put it near that location on your map. Your maps may get kind of cluttered up and filled up. That's okay. They're Post-its so you can move them around. For issues along the corridor, it can be anything. If it's an issue, put it on pink, label it, mark it on the map. And then opportunities for improvement. And that's on green. Write what it is. If you need to stack up the Post-its, go ahead. There are no rules to this process, and so have at it. We're hoping it's a creative process. We're going to be milling around the room. You can ask us questions anytime, and we might dip in on your table. The last one is what is sacred, and there are some things that are held dearly and things that we don't want changed.
This one is really important.
Around late October, we'll be getting a meeting together again. The location is to be determined. At that meeting, what we will be doing is presenting kind of the outcomes of this meeting, as well as having a bunch of design work with us. And so you'll begin to see how we are beginning to visualize and shape up these ideas into some actual design scenarios for the corridor. And it's really critical at this next meeting to get people there and to get good feedback on what we're presenting. We don't claim at this next meeting to have all the answers. This is part of the process, and we want you to help us shape it up so we can get to something that works. So please help put the word out.
And we have big shoulders. We can take criticism.
Yeah, we're not. Please,
okay.
you know, any comments are welcome. Literally, it's the part of the process. So the website's on the agenda, and you can take that with you. I think by tomorrow, the questions that were posed in kind of our group session, the questions on the back of the agenda that led the mapping exercise, as well as the questions on the comment card, will all be available to continue to add comments through the website. So please, if anything comes up, more ideas, you know other people, if they can put their information or their comments through the website, as well as you can take that and share that website through other types of social media. So however the information can get out there, please do it. It would be a great help. I think that is it as far as sort of the final thoughts. Thanks a lot for everyone participating. It was a great meeting, so we're looking forward to the next one.